Hello Warhammer friends, this is Remington Steele with another battle report. Yes, you can see my Beastmen there, lying in wait. Well, they're not actually lying, and they're not waiting in ambush, but they're waiting, ready for some high elf punsy blood to eat. And they've been waiting a long time, but Simon will eventually arrive to Lester Squigg's club, and you will see my DoomBull there just below the giant, and a Tuskgor Chariot and a RazorGOr. I've got Harpies there at the top. And I don't want to bore you with all the details of my army, because if you go back a couple of videos, I go through in great detail what my army is all about. It's basically a blood and glory, and I've got a real nice mix-up of fluff in here. I've got my newly painted Jabberslythe at the top in the middle there. I've got Gors, I've got Ungor, I've got Besigors. I've got everything in this army pretty much from the Beastman book, barring the Gorgon and the Sigor. Okay, so what have we got? So before I go into the high elf stuff, I'm going to show you what I rolled for magic. I have a level 2 on Law of the Wild. Yes, I'm laughing. I've got Savage Dominion, which would be very useful when my Jabberslythe perhaps gets killed. I can bring on another one. How about that? As long as I roll 16 plus, that is, and I'm against high elves. So as you'll see in the video, the likelihood is pretty improbable. And my other spell is Bray Scream, so if I can get that off against Toughness 3 Elves, a Strength 3 Breath Weapon attack on any character within 12 inch of the Bray Shamen, could be pretty cool. I'm sure you'll agree. And my next set of spells is for the Law of Beast. I get Wilson's Wild Form, I get the Flock of Doom, I get the Savage Beast of Horus, which could be exceptional if I get that off on my DoomBull. It could be immense. Or on the Bray Shaman himself, which will make him really, really powerful. And the Transformation of Cardon, which, fantastically, I could turn my Bray Shaman into a Hydra or a Mountain Chimera. So, lots of possibilities here. Okay. So there you have the two armies laid out. I'm going to go into detail of what the high elves have, on the far side. But on my side, you can see how I've laid out my army. I'm pretty much going for broke. I've got some nice cover there, and we laid out our cover at the start of the game. I knew he'd be going for shooting. I knew he'd have repeater bolt, big bolt throwers, and he'd have lots of shooty stuff. But if you're Beastmen, you've got to say screw it. I've got toughness 4. Yes, I've got very little armour, but the idea of the game for Beastmen is to get over to the side and get into combat. Okay, so yes, he's going to have one or two. He's going to have one or two turns to shoot me before I get there, and I'm going to get over to the side and make sure he's got nowhere to hide. And my Ungor, I'm going to hang back and get them as a sort of a secondary charge unit. So I'll get my big units in, and then the Ungor, they can't take things head on, but should they get into a supporting attack, buffed up by Wilson's Wild Form, they could be really, really good. I've got the Centaurs on the right, I've got Harpies on the right behind the building. You're going to see all this in other photos, but let's see what the High Elves have. So, you can see, it's Blood and Glory, so he's got lots of units that have a standard bearer. He's got, I don't know, 4 or 5 units of archers, not that big a size. This is his main one. This has got a mage in it, and it's got his BSB in it as well. He has, I think, he has some kind of magic items, a book, and they don't, to be honest, they don't really come into play that much. He's got 2 units of Swordmasters. He doesn't have any monsters in his list apart from 2 eagles, but this is his main block here. He's got a wizard in there. I think he's got a level 4 and level 3, I believe, and this is his White Lions. These guys, I don't know if I've got any unit that can match it 1-to-1, because he's going to get all his strikes first. He's going to have strength 6 attacks. He's pretty deadly, and he's got that martial honor where they can attack from more than 1 ranks at the back. Yep, you can see there he's got some Reavers. I think they're called Reavers, the sort of bowman, fast cav, and there's his other unit of Swordmasters. So I think he's got 4 high elf repeater bolt throwers, So he's got plenty of ammo here to get some of my big stuff. Remember, I've got my Jabberslythe, which you couldn't see on the left, and I've got my giant. I've got, I've got 2 or 3 big blocks. I've got Harpies. I've got Centaurs, and this is how he's laid out at the start. He's got the high ground there. He's pretty much put all his troops in a long line. He's not put his eagles out the front just yet, and I didn't put my Harpies out the front. Lots of battle reports I've seen tend to put the Harpies right at the front, and they charge them out, and then they get shot off, or they just get, people put them out as redirectors and whatnot. But I'm not into playing that game right now. I want to, get my things up there and get them smashing. Okay, now you see, for that reason, I've put the Harpies behind the building, because I want them to try a supporting attack, or to really get in behind those bolt throwers and cause some damage. I think I got the first turn. No, I think this is still us laid out there. You can see where the giant is, and next to the giant is the Jabberslythe. I've tried to put them behind that house there, so and also behind the woods that you see in the middle, that dark block. And so basically, he won't be able to shoot me if he gets first turn. So there you are. That was how it was laid out. I mean, because we got there slightly late, I didn't get time to get the real nice scenery that this club provides players. It's a really awesome club. I really love going there. It's just finding the time after work when I'm knackered to get the game in. Now, it's 6 till 10 p.m. So it's 4 hours, and it pretty much took us an hour and a half just to get all this stuff set up and talk through the armies and whatnot. So anyway, here's the first turn. Giant gets behind that house so he can't get shot. Jabberslythe swings round to the left out of the charge arc of the White Lions, and I don't know, his eagle at the back is not close enough to get it. I've moved my Besigors up. I've got my my Gors there running into that middle. And my DoomBull is next to the Gors. Next to that, I have the needle statue there. My Centaur have gone right up on the right. He did a vanguard move with his reavers, and you can see a gap there between my Besigors and my Gors, and he's going to exploit that later on with his reavers. So you can see my Jabberslythe close up there, causing the White Lions. Do they move towards to attack it? And if they do, they're pretty much out of the game. Or do they completely ignore it? The Jabberslythe has got this aura of madness within 12 inch. All units must take a leadership test, and however much they fail by, they lose that many wounds. That's really nice. He's got his slivery tongue attack, and I managed to kill a white lion with it. So, not so shabby. There you can see how I've hid my Harpies behind the building there. Some people look at this and go, what the hell are you doing? But, try these things. I've got my RazorGOr going yum, num, 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 all the way on the right. Now, I believe I pushed him a bit too far, because his swordsmen that are opposite can make it. If they roll a decent charge distance, they can do it. Now, the Ungors at the back are cowarding behind that stone wall, and at some point they're going to join the fray. So there you see a close-up of the RazorGOr, and I thought, well, if he's going to dedicate some shooting towards it, try it. Toughness 5. It's got 4 wounds or 4 wounds, I believe, and it's a bad. I didn't think he would make that charge. I wanted to be commanding the charges on that, and even if the RazorGOr died, I think I could have dealt a good 3, 4, maybe possibly even 5, and made them do a panic test. And coming to his turn, yes, he made that long charge. And he's about to chop up that RazorGOr, but I doubt whether they want to be eating that for dinner, because it's rancid. He does, however, manage to kill, I think, two or three high elf swordsmen, and that suits me, because them swordsmen are pretty much out of the game. I know it's blood and glory, and I need the banners, but I want to get the banners from the archer units. See the Harpies still cowarding there. See the Centaurs in the middle. I think I managed to avoid any shooting. They got stubborn because they have to roll a drunken test, and so that was pretty good. Oh, in fact, they got the initiative. They got initiative bonus, so they're now on initiative 4, which makes no odds against high elves anyway. Apart from the eagle, because I think they match his initiative. You can see my DoomBull in the middle. He's gone towards those ruins, and he's saying, "Come on, let's get it." So let's look at it from his side of it. Looks kind of imposing, I'd imagine. You know, he's got a lot of shooting attacks, and I have to say in this game, those shooting attacks did very little. You know, nothing to be afraid of. I think the Beastmen shouldn't cower in front of cannons and arrows. Let's just go for it. You know, use the cover. You know, this game was great because we were able to take it in turns and placing that cover. That's a nice shot of the DoomBull. He's moved. Well, he wasn't sure whether to move forward to be able to meet a charge that I would give, and I was too far for him to charge. So he's kind of, I've posed a question there, and he's kind of shuffled up a little bit. You can see him protecting his bunker unit there at the back. That's got a wizard in it, and his BSB as mentioned before. So what my plan is here is to charge these Ghor right into the swordsman unit, and then get the DoomBull right into combat. I don't care if I lose the DoomBull. I just want to kill as many as I can. So then he uses his one of his eagles there to redirect my Centaur, and I can't charge into those archers as planned, and which would have been nice because I could have mopped up round the back with my Centaur. I've got Gors Warhoof there in the middle, who can cause a hefty amount of damage. So he's throwing away his eagle there. And you can see at the bottom there, he's moved his reavers through that gap between the Besigors and the Ghor and tried to shot off some things. And I'm like, dude, keep shooting, because you know you're whittling down my forces, but it just won't be enough by the time I get there. I'm not at all interested in those horsemen. They can shoot. They daren't charge me because they know I'll chop them up. There's not much in my army that I think they can take on head to head, apart from possibly the Harpies, and that's it. So yeah, they're zombies because I just don't have enough Ungors in my unit to make like 30 of which are there. So forgive that for me, please. You do all this, you paint all your armies up, don't you? And actually, when you see these battle reports, you just see the backs of them. And I spend so long doing the eyeballs and the fangs of my armies, and you don't actually get to see them. But yeah, so the game is going on. We're on to turn 2, and this is the one where we get a lot more fighting and combats. I think we've yet to finish off that RazorGOr one. Oh, that's it. The RazorGOr didn't actually die first round. I think it was a push. He saved. I won the combat with my RazorGOr on the right, and he saved on his leadership test. And he was steadfast. So the Harpies, they're now the Harpies. You know, next round they can fly right over, and he's going to have to dedicate some shooting towards that. So the eagle turns away, as you can see there, and I think he's turned round his lion choppy elves there to possibly meet the charge of a Jabberslythe. I have no intention of charging those guys. I'm going to fly right over them, make them do a leadership test, and get right into those bolt throws and get round the back. So here we have my chariot over there. Probably didn't place him in the best of places, but I made sure I followed Mr. Reef's advice of keeping him 6 inches away from everything, so they won't have to take a panic test. So yeah, he's on the edge. I didn't place him very well. He can't really do much, and I didn't realise that chariots can't march unless they're charging. So he's only moved up 7 there. What do we have next? Okay, so yeah, just another shot there of those reavers coming around the back. He's done some shooting. He's killed off a few people. My magic phase, I'm too far away to do the Bray scream. I do try and get some. I think I get Wilson. Try and get Wilson's wild form off, but he's high elves, and I rolled for shit, and he just stopped everything I could get through. Now here is a really important spell for him, because in his magic phase he casts. Well, Shem's Burning Gate isn't the big one, but he's cast out on the Jabberslythe, and I think he causes 2 wounds to it. So you know, that wasn't much fun at all. Oh no, I was wrong. Yes, you can see 3 dice there. He needed 5 to wounds, and he got 3 through, and he rolled 3 5s, and that's 3 wounds off the Jabberslythe, with 2 remaining. Now here's the big spell for him, and this is me not knowing the High Elves magic enough. He puts Fiery Convocation on that Ghor unit, and in that Ghor unit is my Wargor Standard Bearer and my level 4. And I could have, I think he got Irresistible Force on it actually, so I couldn't scroll it, and I couldn't match his rolling, I couldn't defeat his spell, so this went off, and look what that did. 3, 6, 9, 12. I did hold on my break test, and so did my Minotaur Lord there. And oh Jesus! Right now, this spell is every single round I have to test, and it's basically, unless I dispel it, which I need a huge amount, and I can't use my dispel scroll apparently on a remains in play spell that's already in motion. That is my dispel dice rolling. Shocking. Yep, and there's a close-up of me getting a couple of wounds on them swordsmen. I think he's really is about to chop me to bits, so don't worry. Now here we go, here's the crunch fight. I've got my Minotaur DoomBull there. He's made a charge right into his bunker unit then, and that's going to be real messy. Because this guy, the longer he stays in combat and wins, the better he becomes. He's frenzied. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to do that fight. And I'm going to get a bunch of attacks, 6 or 7 attacks or something like that. Because I've got 2 weapons on him. Oh, and I've got a weapon and shield. That's it. Okay, so here we go. He's charged his... I've managed to make a charge into his swordsman. I can't remember. Yes, it must have been me that charged into those. I thought, forget it. I can either wait here and get completely smoked up by this fiery convocation bullshit, or I can actually get some points. Remember, I've got some spells up my sleeve. You know, Transformation of Kadon, and you know, the other one that makes you into a super warrior. Yeah, I thought, fuck it, let's get these Centaurs into battle. Went into his eagle, wanted to mop that up. I fly my Harpies straight over the top of the RazorGOr and the swordsman, so they can't get involved. And it kind of forces his shooting now to go for the Harpies. And I don't think his shooting did a lot, to be fair. I think he might have just shot one of them off. And he used his repeater bolt thrower on that. I think I've lost a Centaur in shooting. That's my Jabberslythe there on the left, 2 wounds. He's flown straight over there, and I don't think he's caused too much damage with his 12-inch radius. But next round, he's gonna do a lot of good. And as you can see there, totally bypassing those white lions is really working in my favour, because by the time they turn around and get into the middle where all the action's happening, it's going to have changed. So yeah, that's the one, the Savage Beast of Horus there. I want just a close-up of what that spell can do. And this is the this is what I wanted to cast on my the champion that's in my Ghor unit, which is the Wargor, who's my BSB as well, or put it onto my Shamen, or even how about putting it onto the DoomBull, giving him +3 strength. I'm already on 2 to wounds, I believe, but +3 attacks. Fantastic. Yeah, that's the RazorGOr getting chopped up. I think he's. I saw one battle report, and one battle report had 3 units of like 4 or 5 RazorGOr. Fantastic, but I've only got 1. Maybe it's worth considering getting more. I mean, Malorian put out a great video about how he says RazorGOr, same price as a Minotaur, but so much more underrated. Probably because people don't like the model as much as anything else. You can see I've got initiative 4 Centaurs there. I've got a wound off the eagle, not brilliant, but surely I'm going to kill him off next round. So what am I going to do next? Well, remember, I've got the Ungor that are at the back of the board. They can rush into the fight now, and you know, the only thing that can attack them is the archers, as long as I can hold up the swordsman in combat and his bunker unit. Okay, so I think, what's that roll there? I think he actually managed to get a spell on the DoomBull, and he's got at least one wound off it there, because that's that skull dice in the middle is saying he's got 4 wounds remaining. But you can see how many archers I've killed with the DoomBull. 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 wounds off him there. Not sure what those other white dice are. That's the thing. I did this battle, nearly 2 weeks ago, and it becomes faster. You cut to the chase a lot more, but at the same time, you don't remember some of the smaller things, some of the smaller details. But I'm really enjoying using that DoomBull, and I haven't gone the whole hog because I think once bitten does a 2-up re-rollable save on it. But I didn't put all the points into it. It's much an experiment as anything else. So you can see I've got 1 wound left on my Bray Shamen, 1 wound left on my Wargor BSB, and those Gors are really getting scythed down. I think you can see I've got 3 wounds, 3 wounds on those swordsmen. So I have, I've whittled them down a bit, but really it's that fiery convocation spell which really done my nutting. I think each model taking a strength 4 hit and with no save. I mean, not that they've got a save anyway. So he turns around his swordsman on the right there. He turns to face, he's just trying to come back into the middle now. But those Harpies are going to be long gone by the time he gets anywhere near there. And so will the Centaur, because I'm going to kill that eagle and then I'm going to reform and get right out of the way of those swordsmasters, because they're not going to be important to me. I'm concentrating all my power into the middle. I've not even mentioned the giant now at all, have I? So the giant, he's going to come. I'm ignoring those white lions, and I've come the giant. Maybe the giant can polish off those Reaver bowmen on the right if he wants, or he can just get involved in the middle. And the Besigors, I think they may have failed a charge and only been able to move up a few inches. Or, yes, I think that's true. Yeah, the Besigors tried to charge into those archers that you can see in front, but that was a little too far there. So perhaps I should have just moved them up, because none of his units, I think, would dare to charge them, apart from these white lions, which, they're kind of out of the picture at the moment. So I've got my Jabberslythe. I think I've caused a Aura of Madness on one of the bolt throws in the middle, and I managed to take it off the board, which ain't bad, with that spell. Kind of cool. He failed his leadership test. And don't forget my Tuskgor Chariot. That's wheeling around the building here to. It's just a distraction, really. He's got to do. He's got to think about that with the eagle. And of course, he doesn't want to get hit in the side with the chariot from his white lions. So he's got to keep an eye on that. So he's not sure whether to go into the middle or keep an eye on this outside bit. Now, can you see how my troops now are pretty much safe from his shooting? Because I'm tying up his units. There you can see the Ungor at the top. They've come over that wall, and they want to get into the fight. And that's obviously going to be a massive charge to make that. And yeah, just I think that's the same shot, just from behind the table. I like including these shots. It gives you a view of what the other player is seeing as well. So now he does a Melikoth mystifying miasma, and he tries to reduce the damage that the DoomBull is doing, and he takes me down to weapon skill 4. I think he gets a -2 on that, and I get another attack because I won the round of combat, I believe, and I'm frenzied. So I think he's on about 7 attacks now or something like that. So I'm just loving that DoomBull. It's a good laugh. Yep. So you can see fiery convocation there, and just the combat there kills my level 4 Shaman. So that's why I didn't do very well in the magic phase, because by turn 3 this guy was or end of turn 2 this guy was out of action, and he was my level 4 on beasts. But unless I had the Hearthstone or more Shaman or some magic items, I was never going to win that magic phase. Yeah, I don't think I even got to use my scroll in this game, so that was a waste. Yeah, that's a view from above right there. I think that is a really healthy position there. You know, if you look on the left, ignoring those reavers, they're not going to attack the giant from the side. They're not going to attack the bestial from the back. So they're kind of useless. If you look on there on the right, I think the Harpies did get charged. It looks like they have been charged by those swordsmen, so they're going to get polished up if that's possible. And he's just checking on some kind of the angles there, or some kind of overrun, because I think he wanted to overrun into the Centaurs. But the combat with the eagle just lasted one more round than he thought, so now they're kind of stuck. Happy days for me. Yep, so my Centaur have killed the eagle and reformed here. So it's coming up to my turn now. So you can see what I'm thinking of doing. His one regiment that's not in combat, archer regiment, are about to get charged by those Centaur. And you know, they've got 2 attacks each at strength 4. I have weapon skill 5. They're going to get an extra strength +1 strength on the charge. RazorGOr, who every wound he actually causes D3 wounds, so he's going to be awesome there. Now, look how many more DoomBull. I only managed to kill two more archers there, but I started putting wounds on his BSB, and I think it had like a 2-up save or something like that, but I managed to get a couple more wounds off that one. See his swordsmen there on the left, they're getting whittled down real nicely. This is where it's all happening. It's all around that DoomBull. Okay, so I make a long bomb charge. Look at that. The Ungors are becoming the hero of this match, because the Ghor unit that had my Shamen in it and my BSB got annihilated by those swordsmen and fiery convocation, and I think they turned and ran. But the unit is still safe because there's one Ghor running away, and it's quite a long way to run off the board. So if I roll double ones, I may even save him. But those Ungors have got right into the flank of those swordsmen. So, you know, they're going to have... they've got 3 ranks. They've got a banner. They've got a charge. Here, this was gutting, because his Besigors... I went for that long charge there, and I failed it. So they've been rubbish. You can see on the bottom right there, that's my lone Ghor running away from the combat, and you can see the card that's next to him. Fiery Convocation is still in play, and finally the DoomBull dispatches that battle standard bearer from the High Elves. So tada to him. Yeah, so he actually got... I said he got Mystifying Miasma, but he also got Wilson's Wild Form on those archers that were fighting the DoomBull. So that's probably why I didn't get as many wounds in as I'd have liked to, but nevertheless that's a fair few points there. So you can see the Ungor on the right, beautiful, ripped off those swordsmen, and the swordsmen ran away, and they bounced through a unit of archers, and guess where they're going to end up? Right in front of my Jabberslythe. That's just beautiful. So that's going to be another leadership test, and if they hit that Jabberslythe, or I get a charge while they're running in, he's going to finish them off for good. Or I could charge with my Jabberslythe on my turn. I could charge into the bolt thrower, get an overrun into those 2 units there. I mean, sorry, that 1 unit. So that could be just magnificent. I mean, just look how good that would be if I had a breath weapon right there with the Jabberslythe. But yeah, he unfortunately doesn't have it. So yeah, you can see the Jabberslythe there, and the time ran out on this game. It was so frustrating. I mean, we're into the 4th term. You know, he's got this huge unit. Well, it's not huge actually. He's got these white lines that are out of the way on the left. My Ungor bombed it through. You can see my DoomBulls mashing up that unit, and the Centaurs have gone into the archer unit. We were really pushed for time at this moment. I think it was like 9:45. We had to pack away the gear and leave the club on the dot at 10. So it was so frustrating, because the turns were getting faster because there's less troops on the table. but we took so long at the beginning. I think I talked to Mr. Reef about this, and he told me that his first couple of dozen games, he never really got past turn 4. And this is exactly what I found. So how on earth do people manage to have a big game in 2 hours in a competition? I don't know. But I'm going to have to really get my speed going. Simon was a really cool opponent. It was really great playing with him because obviously I'm a bit slow. I don't know all the rules, let alone all the new rules for the high elves. But he was really patient. Real good sportsman. I want you to decide just from, there's not an overview of the table, unfortunately, at this moment in time. But who do you think would win this? Do you think I could completely annihilate them? Or do you think his white lions would come back on and those swordsmen would rally? And, I don't know. I felt really confident I'd win it. But there you go.